Hello and welcome to another Evil Aniki convention vlog. Today I've got a double feature for you and we are going to two spooky conventions. Starting off, we are at Halloween 45, which is brought to you by Horrorhound, which is sort of like a film festival magazine type thing. Seemed pretty cool. This was an interesting little convention. As you come straight into the exhibit hall here, you can see that they had some nice Halloween memorabilia here in some cases. And they also had a Halloween panel going on this day as well. And I think that's the big draw for this, is just Halloween. They had a lot of Halloween cast members here. It's really hard to see because of the glass glare. It was very dirty. Would have liked, it in a better spot. But here's the Horrorhound booth. They've got a lot of merch. I am not that big into the horror scenes, so I had never heard of them. But, it seems like they're a reputable magazine that's been around. So it's interesting to see them doing this event, and it looks like they might be doing these convention types events all over the place. They had lots of space here in the Pasadena Convention Center. As you can see, I can just freely twirl around like an idiot. Although, if you go down some of the aisles, there are clusters of people. A few of the cool things I saw were these shoes. I'll put a link down to their shoe company down below because I thought they were cool. They had a really nice display. They really drew me. They were very unique in their presentation of their booth. A lot of really cool little figurines and voice actors, and people were filming and all sorts of things. I don't know what these fences were doing over here for. No one was using them. I don't know. Was it supposed to be like some type of backdrop type thing? I didn't understand. Just lots of really cool spooky Halloween themed booths, which is really, really cool. And that's why we're here, And it is the start of October. This is at the very beginning of October, so it's very early for the spookiness. Let me know what you guys find interesting in this video. I actually think this con had a lot to offer for, something that just sort of popped up out of nowhere. Horrorhound definitely pounced on their opportunity to get this convention going. I think Pasadena and LA Convention Center are really competing for cons at the moment. And one thing I think they could improve is their sets. They had these off in the corner and they were still building them, so it was really weird. I will say they did have Malcolm McDowell. That's a big draw for people. You can see he had a very big line. As you know, he was in some of the Halloween films, and he was also in Clockwork Orange, and just, big actor. I think he is a really big draw for this convention. But now we're going to go on to HorrorCon. So here we are at the LA Convention Center. I'm just going to cut straight into inside the building. You sort of had to know where you were going to get on inside. And super cool to get that killer clown from outer space tote bag. That's something that Horrorhound didn't have for Halloween 45. So always appreciate free stuff. So coming into the convention, they had this Son of Lurch booth. And they were doing makeup here, and they had this, display. It was pretty cool. It was pretty, a nice homage. There was also some big inflatable balloon things in the corner. This is kind of a letdown from last year where they had, so much big, inflatable stuff. And last year was so crazy. They went all out last year. Here's their merch booth for the convention. Again, it just feels like the same stuff from last year. And it's just not as, intriguing this time around. The killer clown from outer space car, epic, super epic, love this. They also had some other spooky automobiles here if you're into that sort of thing. This is just an absolutely beautiful car. These cars are gorgeous. Why don't we drive cars like this anymore? I know they're probably death traps, but my goodness, are these beautiful? I just absolutely, left without words with those cars. They also had a Pennywise event going on over here. I think it was a scavenger hunt. I didn't take part. They had a big line all day, and I was just I'm not in the mood for it. This is my second convention of the day, and I'm just no more lines, please. I don't want to deal with people. Time for me to not deal with people. It's so tiring at conventions sometimes. They also had a lot of other displays here, so if you paid a little bit of money, you could go get your photo op opportunity. They also had another really cool car over here. This is so cool. They had a lot of really cool cars at this event. It's unfortunate that they have to like charge you money, and I get that. If you want to be able to sit in the seat of the car, they have to charge you money. They also had these really cool big trucks here. I don't know what these are from, but these are so cool. I'm assuming these are from some type of horror movie, and props to these trucks for being absolutely fucking badass, in my opinion. Like, oh my goodness. But they had a lot going on here. They had 2 stages with panels going on, and it was sort of random. I don't really know if they had a schedule, but it was just sort of, each panel was happening, or each stage had different panels happening throughout the day, and they were just sort of in the main exhibit hall, which is a little bit of a downside, because if, someone in the event hall was making a lot of noise, it'd kind of deter from the panel, and, it just makes the panels easier to see, but it's, it takes the exclusiveness of a panel and, like, just drags it to, like, the forefront of a convention. I will say one thing about this con is there was a lot more people dressed up, and a lot of clowns. There was so many clowns here. It was crazy. And, yeah, just so many clowns. I'm not the biggest fan of clowns, but if you like clowns, this was the spot to be in for cosplayers and clowns. They also had some type of show over here. I couldn't get the best view of this. And, they're, like, sliding. They had, like, knee pads on or something, so they're able to do these weird slide techniques, which was, pretty cool. I'm not able to get the best view of this because so many people gathered around, and I don't think this was the best location for this. I would have loved this to be in, like, a different location, because it just made it so hard to see when they were, like, off on the side. That was it for HorrorCon. I'm going to talk a little bit about what else was going on in the LA Convention Center. There was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament going on as well, so we're here over on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Side of things. This was on the other hall at the LA Convention Center, just on the other building. And oh my god, like, you just go to the other hall, there's like 500 people over here for Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, neither of these events had any signage. It's so weird to me. Like how come HorrorCon didn't have any signs up? How come the Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament didn't have any signs up? There was a third event, and guess what? They didn't have any signs up. Like, it just didn't make any sense. Well, I think the third event did have, like, little mini signs in, like, the hall, but no one had any signs up outside the convention. Like, you wouldn't know any of this was happening unless you knew. Like, and I think that's the biggest downside. Which is crazy, because HorrorCon spent so much money putting the HorrorCon LA stuff onto billboards, and it just doesn't make sense. But now I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of the cons themselves, and I might go over some stuff that I've already gone over, but we're going to go into that now for the events. Okay, guys, I'm going to go through the pros and cons between these 2 events, and we're going to start with Halloween 45 by Horrorhound. Starting with the pros, the event times. If you bought a ticket for a day, you can come at any point throughout that day. Makes sense, that's how most cons are, but I have to list it because you'll see when I get to the other con, because it's just weird. Signage. When you pull up to the Pasadena Convention Center, there's a big sign that says Halloween 45. You know where to go, you know where to ask for directions, you know where to, like, the event's going on. Okay? Panels. They had a separate room, which is normally used for, like, a secondary event room, and they were using that for a panel room. And it was very big, it was nice, it looked fancy, I liked it. Crowd. The crowd was maybe just a little bit bigger than the HorrorCon crowd, but I'm giving this one to Halloween 45 because it definitely felt like there was, more people out and about in Pasadena, and you just feel safer in Pasadena. So that goes into the last pro, which is Pasadena is very safe, and I like Pasadena, and you can just leave the con and go find plenty of places to go eat and drink and have fun. Cons. So Halloween 45 was a few dollars more expensive, and that is one of the big detriments to this con for some people. $3, $4, however much more expensive it was, does not sit well with some people. Photo op. Okay, this is a big one. I'd say Halloween 45 really dropped the ball. They had some really beautiful stages in the back, but it wasn't really clear, and when I went, they were, like, working on them, and it didn't really make much sense. You couldn't, like, no one was going up to them. Like, there was just a guy working on them with a hammer, and it was just like, yeah, can we go back there? Can we not? I don't know. But there was just not many photo op opportunities at this event at all. Like it just like there like I don't know, like you could of course there's the meet and greets, you know, that's everyone wants to go to the meet and greets, but there was just no like free displays to go take pictures of. There was no cool things to go see. Like there was no giant mummies and monsters and stuff like that to go take photos of, you know, just random stuff like that. And then finally the badge pickup. When you do get to the event, they make you walk this really roundabout way to go get into the hall to go pick up your badge. And I've done this before at Pasadena Convention Center, and I think it's because the people who run these events here always have like this idea that you want to like funnel people into a line. But when I got there was no line. Like you could have just let me walk through the front door, and it's just a bit weird. But that's it for the pros and cons for Halloween 45. We're gonna go on to the pros and cons of HorrorCon now. Okay, starting with the pros. It was a little bit cheaper. Okay, so it was fairly cheap. I want to say like $3 or $4 cheaper than Horrorhound, so it gets that. Photo op. This is a really big one. HorrorCon had a lot of stuff to take photos of, and that you could take photos with. There was a lot of cars you could hop in and be like, I want to take a photo with this car for 15 bucks or $5 or whatever. There was just a lot of that. There's a lot more photo opportunities and free photo opportunities as well, just to experience that event. I also feel like there was a lot more cosplayers and people in costumes at this event, and it feels more like a Halloween event. Badge pickup. Badge pickup was so fast. In fact, there was no badge. There wasn't even a wristband. So Horrorhound had a wristband that you had to pick up. This event, you just sort of like walk up, they scan your ID, and they let you come on in. They also gave you a free bag with the event, which is really cool, and I'll put a photo of that up so you'll see it. But the last pro is their website. The HorrorCon website is light years better than the Horrorhound website, and it was much easier to find stuff online for HorrorCon because it's got a history already, and you're able to see like what they're gonna do and what they're gonna do and all that jazz and what's happening. I will say both events didn't have the greatest listings, and Horrorhound does have like a magazine aspect and a film festival aspect for their social media, so you know that's there, but their convention coverage was so weak. Like you had no idea what was happening at their event, and there was no vendors, and it was just kind of a mess. For the cons of HorrorCon, event times, okay? This is a big one. I bought a general admissions ticket. That's what I bought last year, but this year for general admissions, if you didn't spend an extra $10, you couldn't get in from the normal times. And if you don't have the VIP tickets, you can't get in. It was really mind-boggling. So my ticket, which was like 30-something dollars, only got me in from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. But if I had paid like an extra $10, I could have gotten in from like 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. And if I paid like for VIP, which was like an extra $30 or something like that, I could have gotten in from like, you know, noon or 1 to the whole event, which is just bonkers. I will say the tickets do work on both Saturday and Sunday, so you can just buy a ticket and you can go which day you want. But it's still really weird that you could only get in from a certain time period, especially when there wasn't that many people there. Signage. So the signage for HorrorCon was really bad this year. They didn't have anything going on outside, like to tell you that the con was going on. You enter the convention center, there's not really a guide, there's nothing to like direct you to the event. And especially when there's other events going on, it's really weird not to like mention that your event is going on. Like there was just no big banner, nothing like that. It's just really weird. Panels. So HorrorCon did have more panels than Horrorhound, but I'm putting this one under cons because all of the panels were in the exhibit hall. So, you know, it makes it really easy to see the panels, but like the panels weren't as cool. Well, okay, they weren't as famous, you know what I mean? They don't have Halloween, right? But at the same time, the panels were going on in the exhibit hall, so it's kind of just like they have to be extra loud and they have to compete against other things. And then the panels weren't lined up one after another. There was periods of time where you could just, there was just nothing going on at those stages, and there wasn't really a timed schedule at the event telling you when the next events were going to be, and it's just a little weird. The crowd. So this one kind of goes for both on HorrorCon. I put this one here because it did have a smaller crowd, but they were more in costume. There was a lot more cosplayers here. So I guess it's kind of more pros, but I don't know. It depends on what you guys like. And then finally, downtown LA. That's my last con for this. I hate downtown LA. I don't feel safe down there, especially if I'm going to be staying late and drinking. I think Pasadena wins this one hands down. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel out. It helps me out a lot. And you know what, guys? I'll see you in the next video. I've got a lot of videos coming out this month. So I hope you guys stick around and check them out, because it is the season of events. There is so much stuff happening. But catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.